Actually, I was asked to talk on the tolerance and patience in the everyday life. So, on one part, this topic is something quite easy to follow, easy to understand, right? But on the other part, it is quite difficult to understand and difficult to implement. You know, actually, when we are speaking about the tolerance and patience and forbearance, it is very easy to catch the meaning of the patient, what patient is. But when we came to the implementation of the patient, it became quite difficult. Can everybody hear me?
Yeah. Can you all hear?
I can now hear you.
Yeah?
Yeah. You can hear me, right?
Ilbani. Check it.
Closer.
Yeah.
And I missed the introductions part.
Yeah.
Due to my lack of experience, I just need to give a brief introduction of myself. And my name is Thupten, and he is one of my friend. And we are studying Buddhist philosophy in Bangalore monastery. And both of us born in Tibet and came into exile in India at a very young age. Since then, we entered the monastery and pursuing our studies on doctrine in philosophy. So today we are very happy to be part of this program, and I hope it will help you to have some new experience of the life. So please allow me to use my notes because I lack some experience, right? So when we talk about the patience and tolerance, and first it is important for us to understand what is the meaning of the tolerance and what is the meaning of the patience. You know, when we are speaking about the patience and tolerance, it is not mere absence of a violence, right? It is not a mere absence of a negative reaction towards other people, right? When we're speaking about the non-violence, it is not just mean a mere absence of the violence. In that case, even the rocks become non-violent. This doesn't make any sense, right? So when we are speaking about the non-violence, we should get the meaning that even if you cannot help the other sentient beings, other fellow human beings, you should not harm them. Because we share this blue earth together, this small home together. Every one of us is responsibility to preserve it, right? So everyone should carry our own burden to preserve the earth as well as to help our fellow human beings, you know. And when we are speaking about the patience, this is not something which is the mere absence of the negative reaction, but you have to generate a deep inspiration within to bear the fault or the misdeeds of the other people. And in that sense, if the other person is guilty, you should give him a chance to transform himself. Because from Buddhist point of view, we said everything is transient, in the nature of the transient. So everything can be changed into another, right? So, and another important aspect within the Buddhism is that every sentient being, including the small insects under the ground and the unicellular microorganisms, all of them present the Buddha nature or Tathagata Dharma. We call it Buddha nature. Means that everybody has the potential to become a Buddha. And the Gautama Buddha himself in the beginning was a sentient being as we, you know. He just, if you read the life stories of the Buddha, then you can understand he is a ordinary sentient being. But due to his practice and his practice of generosity, patience, compassion, forbearance, he got enlightened. He transcended himself. So Buddha said, when he got enlightenment, he turned the three wheel of Dharma, means he gave 3 public sermons. And in one of the theme of the sermon is that he said that I will show you the path to the liberation. I will show you the path to the salvation. but liberation depends on yourself. He showed the path, but whether you attain the enlightenment is up to you. If you practice the path taught by the Buddha, you will transcend. If you just leave them nonsense, then you will fall down. You will, transgress yourself. This is the case. And again, he said this: yeah, Buddhas cannot wash away your sins. Wash away your sins, or Buddhas cannot transfer his realizations to you to transcend yourself. He will show you the path, and you have to implement these practices within your life so that you can transcend, you can develop, right? Does it make any sense?
Yes.
So, this is one of the core teachings of the Buddha, that everybody has the potential to become Buddha, and everybody has the seat of the compassion, love, tolerance, forbearance within us. This is not something we need to be learned from outside. If it is the modern subject, then we need to learn from our teachers, right? But I think love and compassion is not something which we need to learn from other people, because we born as a child. Everybody comes as a child, and we have our parents, our mother, so that in the system of your growing, you gain the loving and careness of the mother until you become an adult. But I miss this chance. I lost my since I depart from my mother at 2000. Then I never seen her face till now. So I lose some part of her kindness anyway. And those people who get the maximum care from their mother and from their parents have the general sense of intimacy and love towards all sentient beings. Maybe I can cover it now. Especially if you look into the Buddhist meditation, to transform and generate the positive intentions. We call it awakening mind. It is an altruistic mind to attain Buddhahood for all sentient beings. In order to generate this mind, there are two methods. One method is you need to exchange and equalize yourself with other sentient beings. And another method is called the 7-point cause and effect method. So, as far as the first method is concerned, exchange and equalize self with others, at the first impression, when we hear that to exchange oneself with others, it you feel like little kind of difficult to deal with this instruction. But once you familiarize with this topic, then it will be very, comfortable and easy, whatever you are engaging. Actually, a great Indian philosopher of, I think, 8th century, Shantideva, and he said that there is nothing which everything becomes easy if you get familiarized, if you get habituated. So, when we say meditation, Bhavana, I think it's a Sanskrit term, Bhavana or Gom in Tibetan term, has the connotation of familiarized with something, habituating with something. So when we say habituate with something, habituate with what? Of course, a positive object. In the modern world, or since every people are trying to enhance and develop their inner qualities, right? Inner qualities. And for that purpose, people rely highly on the different spiritual traditions. So on that case, due to the diverse and different mental dispositions of the different sentient beings, they evolve different, religious traditions, which are individually suited to individual sentient beings or individual beings, So that I think we see now in India and, particular in world as a general, we see thousands of different traditions who are serving in the maximum way for the, welfare of the sentient beings. So when we are speaking about the tolerance, it is important for you to generate some kind of tolerance towards the tradition which you hold towards the others. Because if you the teacher of every single tradition preach his Dharma in order to help the sentient beings. He preaches his doctrine in order to help sentient beings, right? So if you use his doctrine to harm the people, to engage in a bigotry, to engage in a hypocrisy, then it doesn't work. If the teacher knows this, his doctrine is using to confuse people, to create tension within the society, within the human family, then how much he will say of preaching his doctrine, right? So that it is very important for us, the individual practitioner of the different traditions, to appreciate the diversity of the different religious faith in our world. We should appreciate this diversity because there are many reasons why we need to appreciate the diversity of these traditions. You see, if you go to a supermarket, if you able to buy lots of different kinds of commodities, then this supermarket have the more income and the people have the more inclination to go to that particular supermarket, right? So even if on a table, suppose we are having a dinner, and if we are having many different kinds of food on the table, then you can choose your own food by your own mentality, your own choice. If we just put only one particular food, imposing everybody should take this food, then it doesn't make any sense. Some people like rice, some people don't. So on that case, if we put different kinds of food on one table, people can choose from their own choice, right? So it is more suitable to have the diversity of the faiths. And on the other side, the so-called universal faith or universal religion or universal whatever is something which is not necessary, and this is something which is not necessary to impose and not important to come into account, because even within our own family members, it is very difficult to create a same favorite food. Say we have the family of 4 members, every single individual choices the different kinds of food. Some say I like rice, some say I like dal, some say I like parotta, some say I like Kerala parotta, whatever. So people have different mentalities, people have different choices, people have different interests. So with relation to this interest, then we should give them the different traditions, right? So till now, different traditions serve different people, on that level, I think that doesn't have no superior, faith or religious tradition as far as the society is concerned. As far as you are concerned, then you can differentiate. This tradition is more suited for me. You can say, white color is my favorite color. And if you are going to impose that this is the favorite color of the whole world, it doesn't work. People don't agree you. Since people have different choices, people have different interests, they make their own choices, right? So even you choose the white color as your favorite, it is necessary for them to choose it. And it is not also necessary to impose them to choose this white color as their favorite color, right? So on that level, I think it is important to, appreciate the diversity of the faith. And if we are able to appreciate the diversity of the faith in the contemporary society, then there is a lot of ground to create, create harmony within the society. And in the contemporary world, the one problem we are facing is actually all the major religious traditions, all the religious traditions are meant to help people, but in some cases, religion are also involved in difficulties to the people. This is something very unfortunate, right? So now we should find a solution to change this attitude, the spiritual traditions to serve the people in a maximum way. So I think due to the misunderstanding and interpretation of the different traditions, people create lots of misunderstandings, and then subsequently consequently they create difficulty in the society. On that level, the best and the ideal method to solve this problem is, of course, to have discussion, to have dialogue with this religious tradition, right? If you have communication with the other traditions, then you can share your experience. Then you can share your, you can clarify your doubt regarding on the other traditions. On the second level, nowadays, due to the advancements of the science and technology, the world has become very small. You can see the whole world in a single screen, and it is like a world is on your palm. So it's become like very, very small. The world is very small, and it is, it brings all the human beings to a very close. In the early period, if you were to travel to some little distance, it will take days and days. If I were to travel from my monastery in the morning to here, maybe I will reach tomorrow morning in the engine. I'm sorry. So in that level, due to the advancement in the science and technology, we have brought very close. So given that the science has brought us very close, we should be able to remain close. Close not in the sense of the physical close, but in the mentally close. You should be close with your deep respect and the deep love towards your fellow human beings. If you live harmoniously within your mind, with you sharing your joy and happiness, then you can, this is the best way to live harmoniously with the society. If you are able to appreciate the interests and the dispositions of the other people, then you can appreciate the diversity, so that you don't impose your view as the superiority among all, so that we can live harmoniously, right? And on that level, when we are talking about the patience, and generating a sense of patience towards other people, even the your enemy have some fault, done something misdeed towards yourself. If you generate the sense of patience towards these people, it doesn't matter, and actually consequently it will help to create a bond of intimacy between you and your enemy. See, it's like patience is if I give you this book, and if you deny if you're not accepting this book, now who it belongs to? It belongs to the owner who gives to you, right? So even in the same case, if one individual, if one person, even it is your so-called enemy, says you something negative words, if you just bear the words, viewing it as the echo, if you don't accept his harsh words, then it, now who it belongs to? The negative word belongs to the same person who is using the harsh words towards yourself. If one person is told you go to hell, then if you deny his word, then it will just reflect back. This belongs to him. Go to hell belongs to him. So quite interesting, right? Even in the I read some stories of the different traditions, especially in the Christian tradition. There is the tradition that if one person slaps you on the right cheek, just show him the left cheek. Yeah. And also, if one person asks for your shoes, then give him your cloak. And these are very deep practices. What the Buddhists call the Bodhisattva ideal. This is, if we consider this as the practices of very spiritual individuals. So this is, on the one sense, very simple to implement. The problem is that people just ignore to implement. And on the one level, while we follow some religious tradition, it is important to follow it with deep understanding, deep conviction, with full understanding. The way to the way in how to practice the Dharma. Actually, I can share you a story that which is happening among the Tibetan Buddhist in India. In many occasions, His Holiness the Dalai Lama give teachings in different parts of the India, and on that occasion, lots of Tibetans flocking on this place to receive the teaching, and if you examine people going there to receive the teaching in order to enhance the mental attitudes of yourself, in order to transform your negative tendencies towards the positive. By hearing these teachings, you have to implement this, right? But the one interesting thing happening is, on the one side, it's quite shameful. When they came there, they are going there to receive the teaching in order to reduce the self-centered attitude and in order to enhance the self-other-cherishing mind. But while they are arriving there, they are, rushing to occupy a better place for yourself to receive the teachings. And you are rushing towards to have a better appearance of His Holiness. Actually, this is a Dharma, but on the one side, you are, on the one corner of your mind, you are thinking more on yourself. This is a problem. So if you are a true practitioner, you should cherish others more, others before self. So you should give the better space to them. Okay, we are here to practice Dharma. You occupy the better place. You occupy the better space. This is what the true religious people do, right? And on another occasion is that there are lots of Chinese Buddhists who occasionally came here to receive teachings and who have many different religious centers in different parts of the world. And I heard that in some parts of the Chinese, there are very big religious traditions, and
Yes, Buddha.
okay.
I'll get the house key. Dharma key. If you can give me that key.
These Chinese, they have many kinds of different religious centers within the different parts of the world, and actually they, how to say, establish these centers. They establish these centers to practice Dharma, to develop yourself, But on part of this activity, what they are doing is, on some occasions, we can feel that there is a huge sense of jealousy within these different religious centers. This is something very unfortunate, And by establishing these different religious centers, the centers are meant to study the religion. Whatever tradition you are learning, you have to implement. These different centers are meant to develop yourself so that you can, benefit better to the society. But on some occasions, it becomes like these centers become a site to, generate more sense of jealousy, hatred. So this is something very unfortunate. I know it is happening in some parts of the Buddhist tradition as well. That's why I am blaming. So even if it is happening in any type of tradition, it's something we need to change. And whatever tradition you follow, it's your personal matter. Whatever due to the different your dispositions, you can have the right to choose your own tradition. But once you follow this tradition, you should be sincere by extracting the essence of this teaching, so that only then you can transcend yourself. This is the only method, And I think so meditation and the contemplation is not something unique in Buddhism and Hinduism and this tradition. This is something which we can find in almost all major religious traditions. The thought experiments. And meditation is not something like a physical exercise as yoga, It is, you just contemplate on different things, and then you, it's like let's take the example of two different opposing forces. let's say the dark and the light. When we just increase the light, then the darkness just automatically starts to dispel. When we increase the darkness in the room by covering the windows, then the light automatically goes down, right? In the same way, by reducing the negative emotions within our mental continuum, then this is the way to enhance your positive emotions within your mental continuum. You know that these two opposing forces, while by applying antidotes and remedies to these negative consequences or tendencies, then automatically it will increase the positive aspects. And this is how almost all the major religious traditions are practicing. This is, I think, the essence of almost all major religious traditions. Thought experiment. They taught to practice compassion, and by developing your compassion, you will just automatically reduce the sense of hostility towards others, right? By developing patience towards others, you will automatically reduce your anger towards others, your arrogance towards others. So on that level, if you were to practice compassion, if you were to practice tolerance, if you were to practice forbearance, to transcend yourself, you have to, benefit from the other sentient beings. If you think you like to attain enlightenment, or you like to become a Buddha, or you like to reach a very, high realization people, you have to achieve this state by depending on other sentient beings, right? If there is no sentient being to practice tolerance towards the other, then there is no way for you to enhance, because there is no object of your meditation. On that level, other sentient being is very, very important to develop yourself. Without depending on others, single individual cannot achieve nothing. And this is called the view of the dependent origination or relative existence within the Buddhism. You know that? Relative existence in a sense, you are living in a society, with many people. On the first impression, on the first one, if you think my success is only depending on my career or my job, then this is something very wrong, right? If you eat, small snacks, it is formed with the aggregation of many causes and conditions. There are persons who gather the ingredients to make this snack, and there are persons who actually make this food, right? So on the first impression, we see that this is something. On our first impression, we see this book as very solid one, something like this in the first from the beginning. But if you probe further, many system and process are involved within to form this book. There are people who plant trees to make this book. There are people who make this who are actually engaged in making this paper out of the tree. So on that level, many different kinds of people are involved in making this book possible. So I feel very useful of this book. Then I should feel grateful to all the people to whom are involved in making this book possible. Not only the shop owner whom I bought from him, all the people who are involved in making this possible. So on that dimension, you can appreciate better the idea of the other. And another reason to appreciating the different tradition is that every religious tradition are seeking, searching the ultimate reality, that investigating the ultimate reality. So every different tradition have the different method, to search this, including the modern science. On that level, if you search the ultimate reality from one dimension only, then you cannot have the better view or the overall view. If you see or analyze the nature of the ultimate reality through different dimensions, of course you have a better perspective, you have a better view, right? on that level, if you search the ultimate reality with many different religious traditions, of course you have a better result. Does it make any sense? And if you see scene of some beautiful area from one side only, then actually you can have a nice scene. But if you have the view of this natural scene from many different directions, you have more pleasure time. So this is how we need to appreciate the other religious traditions. And what is the time?
5:20.
5:30.
5:20.
5:20. Okay, I will talk 10 minutes and then I will just leave half an hour, 30 minutes for the question and answer session, right? And in the contemporary world, as I told you before that, maybe I should just... Now I will go to some specific topics with the meditation. Maybe you feel interested there. As I told you before that when we are speaking about the meditation, it's a thought experiment. By enhancing your positive thoughts, you automatically reduce the negative thoughts. And by closing your eyes, you just examine the negative consequences of the anger, hostility, arrogance. And on the other side, you just contemplate on the positive aspects of the, compassion, tolerance, patience towards the other sentient beings. On that level, you can have you can meditate well. Otherwise, there is the tendency that there is the danger that also, if you look into the past histories, that some people just fail to extract the meaning of meditation, and they just go to a very isolated place on the hilly areas, and they remain in the retreat for years and years. While they're coming back, same person, no changes. But due to their isolation, sometimes more negative emotions. This is the reason why they're due to not knowing the true meaning of the meditation. So before you meditate, you should know the full meaning and then just meditate. And there is another story that some part of the Tibet inside, there was a man who himself is claiming to meditate on a hilly area. So one person saw him and asked him, "What are you doing?" Then this man just gave him the answer that I am meditating. So he said, what is the object of your meditation? What are you meditating on? He said, forbearance, tolerance. So the man said, in that case, you go to hell. Immediately the person loses the temple. How can you say that I go to hell? On the first occasion that he is telling that he is meditating on patience, as soon as he said that go to hell, he loses his temple. No use of meditation. This is the result of confusion, of not knowing the true meaning. So actually these kind of thought experiments are very crucial to bringing about the transformation of our thoughts and emotions. And one reason that despite that we seek many happiness, we are not achieving it. All the happy, we are not achieving all the happiness that we are seeking. And we are encountered with many different miseries and disasters that we dislike. Then what is the reason that we are actually expecting to confront with more happiness, but still we face lots of problems? And from Buddhist point of view, it is said that you yourself let under the control by your mind, and your mind is again under the control by your negative emotions, and so that you create negative karma, and so that you transgress yourself, right? So on that level, one crucial reason to meditate is to gain some degree of control over your mind. if we can't control our mind, then even if an anger arises, you cannot control the anger, and you just go on under the control of the anger, and anger said hit him, you just hit him, your enemy, because you are not able to control your anger. You are not being able to control your negative emotions. If you can control, then even your anger says hit your enemy. You cannot do this. You won't do this, right? Because you can control it, right? So, in that case, the one reason of meditation is, to bringing about, to the mastery or control over your minds. Once you have the full control over your mind, then you never send your mind towards the negative way, negative path, so that you don't create negative karma, or you don't fall into the negative way, so that you don't face problems. Otherwise, if you always let yourself under the control of your mind, and if your mind is again controlling by your negative emotions, then due to this you are creating many problems. On the other hand, that even if a person who uses a very harsh word towards yourself, again the Indian philosopher says that due to the other person, your enemy, due to his influence, due to the influence of his negative karma, he is going under the control of negative emotions, so that he is using a harsh words towards yourself. If you use a harsh words towards him, then there is no difference that he is challenging you out of his negative emotion under the control, and you are again doing this due to your not getting the control of your mind. So there is no difference. Both of you are under the control of negative emotions, right? So that you cannot judge this who has the truth. Your enemy is doing something bad towards yourself due to the negative emotion. You dislike it due to your own negative emotion. On that level, no one can judge who has the positive result. Both of these two individuals are under the control of negative emotion, right? So that if you just tolerance once, everything will be vanished. Even your enemy feels that, oh, this is something strange he done to me, and gradually you can create a sense of intimacy towards that person. And this is how you can create a positive atmosphere in the society. As we usually say that the journey of the 1,000 miles should start from the first step. The transformation of the world should start from within. First you yourself transform, and then you can transform the world. If you are transformed one, you perceive everyone as a transformed. Let's say if whole surface of the earth is covered with broken glass, instead of covering the whole surface of the earth by some cloth in order to walk on it, in order to not harm by this broken glass, if you just wear our shoes, then you can go everywhere. The broken glass cannot hurt you, right? And it is not necessary to cover the whole surface of the earth by this cloth. This is actually a silly method, So that if you transform yourself, then you perceive everybody as a transformed one. I mean, you don't create, you don't show a negative reaction towards the other people, and the other people will show a similar response towards yourself. And this is how a relation begins, a positive relation begins. And all that we will build, we will just make the bond stronger and stronger. And this is how we create a positive result. I think now I will take some questions. Maybe it's better. It will become more interactive, yeah, you can ask any questions.
How to do meditation?
Yeah. Actually, in order to meditate, there are different kinds of postures, and as I told you before, that meditation is a thought experiment which you just visualize the positive aspects of the positive emotions, and on the other hand you just visualize the negative aspects of the mind, and you just compare these two, which is good and which is bad, and you came to know that the positive emotion is good, and then you know you determine to lose the negative one, and you determine to embrace the positive one. And there are actually different kinds of meditation to generate love and compassion towards the others. Actually, I was planning to talk everything on that, but due to time, I cannot go very much detail on this. And on that, this is very specific topics, so not very necessary to cover all. So the real meaning of the meditation is your familiarization with the positive object, your habituation with positive object. Actually, the meditation, I'm not sure, the Sanskrit term partner or the Tibetan term gom has the connotation of the familiarization with the positive thing. You know, if the more you habituate with the positive, emotions, the more you're likely to become a better person. This is how meditation works.
How to practice meditation? What you said is day-to-day life to keep on stress yourself on positive emotions. That is okay. Now, meditation means as we understand. Sit in one place and concentrate in a particular point. That point could be here, could be here, could be here, out of the 7 minds. That's what we are understanding by meditation. Whereas you are telling meditation is concentrate or contemplate on positive things. And positive things, contemplation is just living. Every religion says, every leader says, yes, you you look after the positive aspects of it. You take off the negative aspects. Everybody says. But meditation means, as we understand, sit in one place, preferably calm place. Even if you can't find a calm place, okay, concentrate your mind in a particular point. And take off other points, don't bother about other points, and keep on thinking about whatever you feel, God or something. Then your mind becomes more richer and richer. During that process, of course, you may be thinking whatever just now you said about God.
I think this is one aspect of the meditation. From Buddhist point of view, we can divide meditation into two, analytic and a single-pointed. The thing which you are talking is the single-pointed, just focus on the one object, its nature, how it comes. But there is another meditation, that analytic meditation. Analytic in the sense, you just analyze the nature, you just analyze the entity of the object of your meditation. You know, this is the analytic. And as far as the analytic meditation is concerned, it is not necessary to put on the particular posture. Even you can meditate by, maybe some of you seen the debating system in monastics. This is also considered to be an analytic meditation. Actually, all the monks are, while they are debating, monks shouting, they are not, sitting in one particular posture. So, as far as the analytic meditation is concerned, it is not necessary to sit on one posture. But as far as the single point is concerned, you need the postures in order to remain focused. The clarity, in order to retain the clarity of your mind towards the object.
So analytic meditation is, one doesn't have to sit in one place. One can go about in their ways, but always concentrate your mind on good aspects of life. That's what is analytic.
And even if you are a school teacher, have the single focused, so that even if you focus your mind single-pointedly on one particular sound or one particular object, you can remain focused. But we, the fleshling practitioners, cannot retain this mind. As soon as we focus our mind on one object, another comes in. This is called the distraction.
But you yourself said, practice, practice and practice. So by sitting and then contemplating on a particular point, that point could be image of God, or Om, or something like that. And go on practicing. You develop a sense where where other thoughts which may come in the beginning, you gently drive them away slowly, and by continuous practice, by continuous determination to be meditate, you can practice.
Sure.
That is
Exactly.
possible.
Exactly.
Only thing is one has to put lot of effort.
Any other questions? You can also ask question which is not related to the topic as well. You can ask my name of my father, name of my mother. How about you?
With all this higher knowledge of say meditation, tolerance, patience, everything, in the present world, there are more and more negative forces are active. And how do we relate to the negative forces of vibration that is going up and positive thinking that is going down in the ratio and proportion to take. Whereas we feel that more and more people are being educated in this sort of thinking. But the practically, the negative forces are more than the positive.
Correct.
Everywhere, intolerance is reaching its pinnacle, and there is impatient. Every man, every boy is impatient. If he gets some marks, he will commit suicide. Like this general tendency, the whole lot, if you observe, impatient and intolerance is increasing. Don't know why.
I personally feel that it is, due to the lacking of the understanding of the positive aspects of one's own life. Right? Nowadays, we feel, on the one hand, we see that the world is developing, people are educating, but I think that education alone is not sufficient to bringing about the moral principle of the human values. If you do not use your education wisely, then you can destruct in a very huge way. If you are educated enough to create an atom bomb or nuclear bomb, if you don't have a disciplined mind, if you use this to destroy the humanity, it can destroy it in a very large scale, right? So on the basis of your education, if your education is guided by the moral principles of different religious traditions, only then we can build a clean society. So on that sense, it's important to create awareness among the youngsters to the positive aspects of the given that sciences, due to the advancement of the science and technology, some people question the relevance of the religion in modern society. They feel that having good family, having a good car they consider this as a happiness. But if you probe further, we can categorize happiness into two broad categories. One happiness is the mental happiness, and one is the physical happiness. And it is very important for us to emphasize more on the mental happiness, rather than the physical happiness, because your mental happiness can overwhelm your physical happiness, but your physical happiness cannot overwhelm your mental happiness. The point I'm trying to making is that if a person who is very poor in living condition, and there are many cases that still he's living very happily, and even the people who are living in a very affluent, environment, still they are facing some problems. So what is lacking behind? What is the thing they're lacking? They are lacking the mental happiness. So on that sense, we should emphasize more on the mental happiness rather than physical happiness. So in order to bringing about the more mental happiness, then we should rely more on different religious traditions, different moral principles, right? any more questions?
But when I hear all these things, practically there is no difference what is Buddhist philosophy and Hindu philosophy. I just don't find whatever you said. It's already told in Bhagavad Gita, in so many lectures. We hear whatever you told. The mental happiness, the physical happiness, and tolerance towards others, and driving away negative.
Yeah.
All whatever you have told, excellent.
Yeah.
But these are all there already existing even before Buddha came into being.
Yeah, sure.
And from time immemorial, these things have come.
Sure.
All these things.
That is why it is called truth. That is why it is called truth.
True.
Because it's
Yeah.
time immemorial.
Yes, time
And as he
it is
said,
indestructible.
as he said, tolerance to all religion, tolerance to everything is so important. Because everything says the same, but there are million people with million different attitudes. So for everybody there is something. Buddhist attitude for somebody, Christian for somebody, Hindu for somebody. There are so many people
Different
who
paths.
need,
Different paths.
who need it. It's like not just having sambar every day. There has to be different varieties.
This is the
That's
ultimate
a lovely
truth of the
thing.
different religious traditions.
ಅದು ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ Exactly.
People use different languages, I had the opportunity to participate in the interfaith dialogue many years back. So in that I had the opportunity to learn on the different philosophical aspects of the different religious traditions. And I think in the Sikhism they said that, Ek Onkar means God is one. God is like, in some parts of the places, people called water, in some pani, niru, chu in Tibetan, and different languages. But this, the object or the entity of the water is water. This is water, or pani, whatever you call. In the same case, if you call Buddha, or you call Jesus, or you call Allah, they consider the nature of this as same. Their selfless service to the sentient beings. So the biographies or autobiographies of these great teachers, these great personalities are not only to read and enjoy, but these are many great advice for us to follow. If you try to follow their footsteps, then definitely we can go to there. We can reach the destination as same as them. Why not? Right? So the biographies of these great personalities are not only to be read and keep the book in the library, but we have to implement. Without practice, there can be nothing. Even if you pray all day long for the world peace without any practice, world peace doesn't come. So we need practical, practice, implementation. Only then we can create some positive atmosphere.
My simple observation what I had in my life. Once I was going to Ajanta, the whole bus was full with Marathi people, elderly ladies and gentlemen and youngsters only. And we only 3-4 of us are different, and 2 monks were sitting in that bus. So as it was a long journey from Aurangabad to Ajanta, on the way it slowly started. Past the time they started singing. While singing they started a competition between these elderly ladies and these youngsters. Like Antakshari, it went on, swinging. Singing high spirit, it went to that extent. But we were enjoying. But I saw these 2 Buddhist monks, Nirlipta, that is the word, I don't know. No reaction, nothing, so calm, so peacefully, they were just sitting in there. I don't know whether they were enjoying, they were meditating, I don't know. But it was there. But we pure common people. I don't know what happens to the driver. He could not stand this loud sound singing this youngsters and other things. In one fine point, he stopped the bus. Then he told the trainer and the trainer, I just cannot with this loud sound. I can't understand. And he, so the whole this stopped. It became so absolute silent. And thereafter, but after going to Ajanta, that's a different thing to see the paintings and to imagine that Lord Buddha's life. That's it. But as Mom said, it is practice, which makes man perfect. On behalf of the Ashwasan, I thank the Buddhism who appraised the moral values of our life and spoke so much to us. Thank you so much. I would like to visit once again and to listen to his comments in the premises. That will be more happy.
Yeah, we want to come.
Thank you.
Nice. Here it is only very good.
Thank you very much.
So many of it.
I will just leave my contact phone number in the
Thank you.